Alright, guys, SOCCERWORLD Fan TV here. We're back with the reactions. We're back, and Reza, of course, is back. I think the last time you did came, though, it was a draw, right? Against Manchester United?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was
Yeah, and
the
now there's finally
previous
a
year.
win in the North London Derby. London is red tonight. Mate, tell me how you feel, man.
Um, I feel kind of surprised and relieved. Um, of course, I watched most of the game, but then I left at halftime to go get some food and then come back home. During the first half, uh, I guess Arsenal was dominating for the most part. Spurs had a really good counter attack. Great goal from Lamela. Definitely a goal of the month contender, maybe even the winner. But then Arsenal came back in the first half and also later in the second half, uh, to take the lead, and they were hanging on for the win. So definitely, it's a big win for the season. And as for Arsenal, I think this gets them closer to, the top seven.
For sure, for sure. Let's talk about some of the decisions. First of all, the penalty decision. You're pretty much I think we can all agree it's a stonewall penalty, but do you see any argument against it that it shouldn't have been a penalty?
Um, when I first saw the replay, I thought it was somewhat of a 50-50 situation because it was a very late challenge, right? But at the same time, Lacazette had already, messed up the opportunity. So I thought maybe giving a penalty in that situation would have been really harsh against Davinson Sanchez. So in this case, um, for me, if the challenge had taken place, a bit earlier when Lacazette was about to hit the ball, that's 100% a penalty. But, a little bit after he hit the ball, I think it was, a bit too late and, somewhat of a soft penalty.
Damn, that's a very interesting take because actually Jose Mourinho came out and said that Mike Oliver didn't particularly get the decision right. At least according to Sky Sports when they were giving like that post match thing. So
Yeah.
maybe he thought the same way about it. And then of course the Lamella decision. I'm pretty sure you would agree that it was a deserved red card, a second yellow.
That's definitely a red card. Yeah, second yellow. I think the way he kind of stuck out his elbow against Tierney's face was very aggressive, and it seemed intentional because he was getting frustrated um, as the game was wearing on and continuing. So definitely that's a red card. But it should just be a one-match suspension. I don't see it, expanding to a multi, you know, bunch of games where he may be suspended.
Mm-hmm. And actually, we got to see actually a little bit of the stats of the game. Harry Kane, usually a big player in these derbies and everything, has only registered just 27 touches in the in this defeat against Arsenal, just in total, which is absolutely unbelievable. And few Premier League games that he's. Okay, so yeah, he had only 27 touches this game, and considering he is a big player, when it comes to
Yes.
his games, do you find that quite alarming that the defense was able to shut down? I mean, realistically speaking, I think they only had two shots on target, I believe.
Yeah, of course. I think from the moment that Son got injured, Spurs lost a huge focal point of their attack, right? And a focal point of their transition game, really. And because of that, they were struggling a lot. Especially when they brought in Lamela. Harry Kane, started losing out in his individual battles against David Luiz and Gabriel. In my opinion, Luiz and Gabriel played very well today. In the last couple of minutes, they were a little stressed out because they're holding on to a 2-1 lead and Spurs are pushing as fast as they can. But overall, I feel like if Son didn't go off injured, Kane could have had a couple of chances today, and he could have been more involved for sure.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, both teams have been struggling this season. Obviously,
Yeah.
do you think that this could be a confidence boost? Because to be fair, I think Arteta, he has been doing well against big teams. Obviously, I know he did. It was his first time winning against Spurs. ever, which is brilliant on his end. But do you think that he still has kind of that X factor and just needs like more players that more players, and then within time he should be able to take Arsenal to where they can be or where they have to be.
Yeah, of course. I think he has the right mentality, especially when he joined the club at a point where the club was on a really bad run of games. Fans were hating on Unai Emery a lot, and they were highly critical of the players. And he's come out and sort of taken the club into a new phase of transitioning from that and rebuilding in a very positive manner, right? Like, for example, Xhaka before Arteta came in was one of the most hated players because of his inconsistencies and his poor positioning when it came to certain moments in games. But now, um, Xhaka has transformed into a critical player under Arteta. So because of this evidence, we know that he has the capability of proper man management and player positioning that he can implement in order to get the best out of his players. So if you give him the correct resources and guidance and whatnot, you can really expect Arsenal to become a top five team, maybe even a top four team within the next 2 to 3 years.
All right. I should have maybe asked this question beforehand, but I'll ask it now. Obviously, when you did see the two lineups, right?
Mhm.
I don't know. We would arguably say that I think Spurs did have the better lineup, and yet they played so negative as well. So, do you think it's looking at it as Spurs' point of view? Do you think they'll be let down by it? And considering it's a derby game, do you think they were not up for the ropes this time around?
If you look at this game from a Spurs perspective, I think they'd be very frustrated, especially with how the game went completely against them after the goal they scored, and also the injury they had with Son and players not turning up like Harry Kane today. But then again, that was also a problem within their system today as well. Like on paper, their lineup was, I guess, much better than Arsenal's, right? Because Arsenal's bench is not
I
as
mean,
great as
considering his
yeah.
Bale as well in the last game, he was popping off. So,
That's right. Yeah,
and he was just quiet this game, I would say.
yeah. But then one particular issue was that whenever Arsenal were attacking from the left hand side, uh, Gareth Bale doesn't track back as much, right? So from a tactical standpoint, that's already one big problem. Because then you'd be forcing Højbjerg and Ndombele to come through and block down the left channel with Doherty, and we know that Doherty plays much better at a left back or left wing back position than right back. So I would say the right hand side of Spurs today was very weak in that sense, and Spurs fans will be very frustrated with that.
Mm-hmm. For sure, and obviously, I never really actually talked about it, but Gabriel came big at the end. To be honest, big chance at the end. How would you say as well? Like, I know that I would say like Arsenal defensively they haven't been they kind of structure themselves in a way, but then defensively they go. But I think you would say he was in one of the bright sparks in a season of mixed emotions. I would say.
Yeah, of course. For me, I've been watching Gabriel since like the end of his time at Lyon. Sorry, not Lyon, at Lille.
Lille, yeah.
Yeah, and then I've watched him ever since when his first game when he came to Arsenal. He seems like a very composed defender despite his lack of pace. And I think today he really stood up to the challenge against Kane, Son, and what's his name, Gareth Bale, right against those three, and he did tremendously well in stopping the attacks and making those clutch plays happen and give Arsenal a defensive boost against Spurs.
Finally, I want to say as well, for you guys, and I guess I can ask maybe for like a Spurs perspective as well, because both of you guys are not where you want to be in league wise. But do you think that now Arsenal should incentivize and like go for the Europa League and try to win it? And then in a Spurs perspective, should they try to go and at least try to win something because they haven't won anything since I believe 2008 the League Cup. So
Um, yeah, I would say so. Yeah, of course. Obviously, for Arsenal, I think Unai Emery, during his first season when he took over, he mentioned that it is really a game by game basis. So you have to approach every game as if it's, a cup final, really, right? So for Arsenal, they can still get into the Europa League or even the Champions League through the Premier League, no matter how difficult it is. So they need to keep all tabs or all options open for themselves, right? Continue to do well in the Europa League, but at the same time, give yourself a chance in the Premier League as well. Because, even if, say, Arsenal does make it far in the Europa League and they end up winning it or whatever, um, you don't want to finish at mid table in the Premier League, right? Because then that means you're tanking a league season by, going 100% into European competition, which we've seen it doesn't always pay off.
hmm. Well, first of all, thank you so much for your match reactions, Reza, once
Yeah, no
again.
worries.
And guys, if you do agree with his opinions, please give a like on the video. Please share this video. Of course, subscribe to the Soccer World channel, which will have more and more content like this. And hopefully, we do keep consistent until the end of the season. And yeah, thank you so much once again, Reza.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And as always, y'all take care and peace.